I realized it was three things. One, unlike every other action-adventure hero, MacGyver didn't use a gun. Now, I'll be honest with you. That wasn't a moral choice on my part. Let's put gun politics aside for the moment. It was a dramatic choice. I said every other action-adventure hero out there shoots back. If we take the gun away, he's going to have to find another way to solve the problem. And there's the hook for your show. He's going to have to use whatever he's got around to be clever, resourceful, ingenious, to find a way to escape or beat the bad guys that doesn't involve just shooting them down. And the other thing I discovered as why this character became popular was no matter how life-threatening or intractable the problem seemed, this guy always maintained a sense of humor and humility. James Bond, let's face it, pretty smug, really shaking, not stirred. MacGyver was always the smartest guy in the room, but he never acted like the smartest guy in the room. He acted like the guy next door. He would crack a joke. He was humble. And somehow, people, because he didn't use a weapon, let's face it, most of the world's population does not have access to guns, right? And unlike here in the West, or the developed countries, where we want something, we go to a store, we buy it. It breaks, we throw it out, we buy another one. No, most of the rest of the world looked at MacGyver and said, we do what this guy does every day just to survive. We get this guy. And not only that, but he maintained a sense of humor and humility. When you start having children and grandchildren, it's not hard to imagine them having children and them having children. And I looked at this century and I went, you know, I think this is a critical century. We get this century right, civilization as we know it has a future. We get this century wrong, maybe not so much. What on earth can I do about that? I'm just one guy. And I thought, yeah, but here's this thing, MacGyver. And when I thought about it, I realized, you know what? The things that people love in MacGyver are actually great management tools for the rest of this century. Why? Because we are now a global civilization. I hope I'm not breaking anything surprising to you, but you know, it's nice to think we can go back, but the truth is, the fact is, there is no country in the world that can say we have all the resources we will ever need. We're going to roll up our borders. The rest of you can go to hell. We'll be just fine. Those days are over. We are all in this together, whether we like it or not. We can have trade wars. We can have real wars. We're all floating on the same bubble, people. It's the only bubble we got. We're going to need to work together to do this. So maybe MacGyver can help. How does that translate? One, don't use a gun, avoid conflict. I understand that sometimes conflict is inevitable, but not the first thing we should do, the last thing we should do. Why? Because conflict only leads to more conflict. And by the way, even if you win the war, which we don't seem to be doing any better these days than we used to, the house is still on fire. The problems we all face together are still there. You haven't solved anything. Well, maybe you got your hands on these resources for a little longer. We're using up the resources faster than we can produce them. So, MacGyver, core value, number one, try and avoid conflict. Number two, that ingenuity, resourcefulness, whether you're an individual, a community, a state, a country, a civilization. How do we turn what we have into what we need? Because that's something we're all going to have to do going forward. How do we turn what we have into what we need? And it really helps to maintain a sense of humor and humility. Why? Because a laughing and open mind is a whole lot more likely to come up with a good collaborative solution than a closed, frightened, angry, or resentful mind. It's fine to be angry at the world. That's not going to necessarily get you anywhere or get us anywhere. Now that I've both demonstrated to you that every life is a story, and we are collectively creating a story of what this world is and what it should be and what it can be, why not try and create a new story for all of us, for everyone? Because if you want to change the world, ladies and gentlemen, and you at home, the first thing you have to do is you have to come up with a new story. And if enough people buy into that story, then it becomes the truth. Because that's what we are. We are a narrative species, and we live and we die by our stories.